Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Host Fred Arnold on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm joined by Dave Cantrell. Dave Cantrell is a mortgage professional at American Family Funding. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're going to talk about the 7 tips for first-time home buyers. Tip number 1.
Well, tip number 1 is, do your homework. There's a lot of products out there. There's a lot of different avenues you can go down. There's everything from 3.5% down. There's also a lot of FHA loans, which are really good for first-time home buyers because they do allow a little bit of a lower down payment. So that can be very attractive also. And it's just, you really, like I said, get out there, do your homework, talk to a professional, and see really what avenue is going to work best for you.
Yep, absolutely. Make sure you inquire. Don't
Correct.
be afraid to talk to 1, 2, 3 experts, and then pick the one you think is best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Saving money.
Yeah, you got to save money. That's the bottom line. A lot of people will think that there's just going to be the down payment that they're going to want to save for, but you're going to want to save a little extra because you're going to want to furnish that house. You're going to want to do some yard work and fix the house up to make it more your home, not just the home that you're moving into.
Yeah.
So
isn't that the case? Whenever you move into a home, you never really calculate how much money it really costs with new grass or a new sofa or you name it, huh?
Yeah, because as soon as you move into that new house, trust me, you're going to want new furniture and you're going to want new carpet and new paint and all that kind of stuff to make it your style.
Sure.
So you're going to want to make sure you save enough money for that.
Yeah. And plus, it's exciting. And it should be.
It's great.
Should be,
It is very exciting. So,
credit.
You got to get your credit in order because lenders are going to check your credit. They're going to want to make sure that you are credit worthy. They're also going to want to make sure that you can show that you're going to be able to repay that loan, and that's where credit really comes in. So you can go out and you can actually get a copy of your credit report at annualcreditreport.com. That way you can take a look at it and make sure everything is correct and make sure everything is up to date, because a lot of times there are things on there that are not correct, and you want to know beforehand, before you sit down with somebody, exactly where you stand. And again, that annualcreditreport.com is free, and so I highly recommend somebody go out and take a look at it because credit is a very big part of the loan process.
I want to emphasize that just briefly, and that is a lot of individuals that come to us that have always had outstanding credit end up having something from a collection account they didn't know about for medical.
Correct.
Or a cell phone or a cable company. They don't realize, and then all of a sudden their credit score went from the high 7s to something in the mid 6s, and the price difference for some loans could be quite a bit of money for 30 years.
Absolutely. It really can affect you in the long term, and that's why, like I said, there are free avenues that you can take a look at it, so you really need to take a look at that.
Searching for a home. Now, this can be This can be done from your bedroom. You're, laying in bed.
Correct. Nowadays, with the internet and all the websites that are out there, you can definitely go out there and start the process. But I always tell people you really want to talk to a realtor because they are the professionals and they're going to be able to really help you narrow that search down and ask those questions that you may not think of that are going to be important down the line. It's just, I tell the same thing: talk to a lender, talk to a realtor. They're the professionals.
Yeah, that's key. And I've purchased quite a few homes in my lifetime, and I would see a neighborhood, a home that looked great, and I'd email my real estate agent, and they would say, "Well, Fred, here's the challenges with this neighborhood, and here's the pluses to this other neighborhood," and you don't get that information when you're searching the web quite the same.
Absolutely. I mean, again, they are the professionals. Let them do their job.
Yeah. Hurry, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Be patient.
You want to see that? You want to get that first house is the perfect one. You want to get in there. Patience. You got to have patience. It really is something you want to take your time about. And it really does, the adage of good things come to those who wait. A lot of times that's true. You're really excited because you've decided to make this leap. And so you're going to see those first couple of homes and really, really want to be in there. But you're going to want to take a look at everything that's out there because there might be something right around the corner that fits you perfectly.
Without a doubt. My best thing is take notes, right? Unless you have a photographic memory.
Absolutely. And the thing about taking notes, everybody's going to take pictures with their phone, which is a great idea. I highly recommend it. But you also want to take notes about that unique thing that you saw in the house. Maybe this house had a statue of a Buddha. Maybe this house had a picture of a unicorn. That's going to help you remember that home. So make sure you write those types of things down also so you'll remember it.
And last but not least, don't settle for anything that what you're looking for, because you're going to be in this house for a while.
Absolutely.
That's your investment.
This is probably going to be the largest investment you ever make in your life. So don't settle. Make sure it's the one you want. Have patience and this really go together. That home is out there for you. I guarantee it's out there for you. Make sure that you tell your realtor exactly what you're looking for, and they're going to be able to go out there and find it. And then we're American Pacific Mortgage and American Family Funding are going to be able to help you afford that home.
Thanks for coming in again. Those want to reach out to you?
If you want to reach out to me, my email is david@affloans.com. My telephone number is 661-505-4368.
Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Again,
Appreciate the wealth of information. 7 tips for first-time home buyers. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. The show's Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS. Good morning, Southern California. AM 1220 KHTS. The host Fred Arnold on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm joined by Dave Cantrell. Dave Cantrell, mortgage professional with American Family Funding. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
I want to talk about loan programs. I want to talk about the multitude of programs that are available out there, Dave. Most common one, conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac home loan.
Right. Your conventional, more times than not, is going to be your 30-year fixed rate mortgage. This is the one that pretty much everything else is based on. It's a program where you're going to be paying the same amount from day one through the 30 years. Nothing's going to change. Interest rate's going to stay the same. All of your impounds will probably stay the same as well. So it's very conservative, straightforward. You know exactly what you got for the 30 years.
And normally those are sold by Fannie or Freddie, and you can put as little as 5% down, can't you?
Correct. Yeah, those programs are around where you can only put 5% down, which is great. Again, for first-time home buyers, that's usually a good avenue to go down.
Yeah. Also, I know the firm, American Pacific, is a direct lender with Fannie and Freddie. That gives us a lot of advantages, doesn't it?
Absolutely, because being able to have that ability that we know that we're going to be backed by Fannie and Freddie and we're going to be able to use them is something that helps us out tremendously. It gives us a lot of leverage and a lot of different ways we can go about helping people out.
VA, veteran loans, those are my favorite.
Yeah, VA loan, we do what we can to give back, and VA loans are great because there's no down payment. So that's a really, really big advantage to that. Also, they can be as high as 4% seller contributions. That means that somebody selling that house can give back up to 4% to help them qualify for the loan.
Yeah, for closing costs. One great thing about VA loans is we've seen VA loans up over $1 million in San Diego County, depending on the down payment. Boy, you can really qualify for quite a bit.
Absolutely, and it's surprising. We've read a lot of statistics that a lot of VA veterans don't even know about these benefits, and a lot of them aren't using them. So we're really trying to push and really trying to get out there the advantages to this and make sure that veterans know that they have these avenues that they can use.
FHA.
FHA is also a great program. For those, you can have as little as 3.5% down. There are a lot of boxes sometimes you need to check, but it's going to be a loan that a lot of people really enjoy because they're easy to get into.
Yeah, a little more lenient on the underwriting. You can have an all gift on that.
Correct.
program.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have all gift funds, which is very helpful.
We also find a lot of times on that particular product is allows for a cosigner, a generous cosigner.
Yeah, and that really does help. Again, a lot of times with first-time buyers, but also sometimes maybe somebody's had a little bit of a credit issue or something like that. So the cosigner comes in, helps out, and really makes it a lot easier for people.
HARP. They have the HAMP loan. I always joke about that. The HEMP loan and the HARP loan. The HARP loan allows refinance when you're upside down, right?
Right, correct. Yeah, and a lot of people, they think they're upside down and they really have nothing else they can do, and there's no avenues out there. But there are avenues that that we can help, and we can definitely help them get back in a better situation. It is completely different from the HEMP loan, though. Completely different.
Without a doubt. Okay, I'll leave those jokes out of it.
Okay.
But on the HARP loan, you do have to have a loan that's owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac in order to do that. And we can show you at American Family Funding. And
yeah, it's pretty easy to find out who owns that loan. It takes like a couple of minutes on a search.
USDA.
USDA.
That sounds like some type of government agency, huh?
Well,
it kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and it's kind of more for those rural areas where there's not a lot of comps out there. There's not a lot. It's going to be a different situation. It's going to be wide open spaces and a lot of times acreage and things like that. So the USDA loan has some guidelines that really help us put people into homes when there's a little bit of a different situation.
Sure, and some of the outskirts of LA County in Southern California do have that. I know Castaic is one of them, but certainly call your mortgage professional. Find out whether you can jump on that product. HomePath is an interesting program, and those are for loans that were foreclosed upon by Fannie Mae that no appraisal requirement.
There's no appraisal requirement, which is great because the appraisal is really something that we're going to want to take a look at. And so when you have the no appraisal, that really does help. There's also no mortgage insurance, and that's another big help for that monthly payment that you get to not have to deal with. So that's really a nice part of it as well.
Yeah, on that particular program, go to homepath.com to find eligible properties that would qualify for that. I want to ask you about one last thing, and that's a Keys on Time program.
Keys on Time program is a program that we have at American Family Funding where we promise that we're going to close that loan on the date that loan needs to be closed, at the close of escrow and the close of, make sure that that's signed, sealed, and delivered, and that loan is going to be there right when they need it to be there. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of moving parts going on, and it's very difficult at times to get those things done, but that's why we have our Keys on Time program. We guarantee it's going to get done.
Yeah. Or they pay some of your closing costs.
Correct.
Dave, those who want to reach out to you and find out more information?
You can reach me on my email is david@affloans.com. My telephone number is 661-505-4368.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Again, I always enjoy being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Cantrell, American Family Funding. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. This is your host, Fred Arnold, on AM 1220 KHTS. Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Your host, Fred Arnold, on the Southern California Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm joined by Dave Cantrell. We're going to talk a little bit about tips on buying a home. Dave, real estate agents, I think it's really important that you hire a qualified professional real estate professional, a realtor that's certainly licensed here in the state of California or any state that in the union. What's the difference between a listing agent and a selling agent?
Well, a listing agent is actually somebody who's going to be working for the seller. All right, because they're listing that property. A seller's agent is actually going to be the person that's working for the individual that wants to buy that home. So you really want to make sure that you have an agent on your side
that's representing you. Now, for those guys out there that are legalese, if you will, technically both the listing and the selling agent work for the seller because that's where they get the commission from. They don't get it typically from the buyer. However, who's on your side negotiating?
Correct.
If you're buying a house, it's important that you have somebody on your side negotiating. That's what a selling agent or buyer's agent does for you.
Absolutely. You really want to have somebody on your side that's going to be, fighting for you to get the best terms that you possibly can. You want to go out there. You want to find a realtor. You want to make sure that they're professionals. They do their job for a reason, and so you want to make sure you have somebody on your side that's able to work through and get through all those legalese that are going to be out there.
Yeah. Shopping online.
Shopping online, I think, is a great place to start, to kind of get an idea of what's out there and get an idea of, the prices and things like that. So I think it's a great place to, because you're going to look at 1,000 properties in a day. Yeah. So I think it's something that is a good tool to have.
It's a really good tool. And I think one of the most important things about that is it allows you to narrow down some choices rather quickly and ask your agent, a real estate agent, what do you know about this area? What do you know about that area? What do you know about over here? What do you about over there? Also, as a seller, ask friends. Ask your mortgage professional. If the mortgage professional is familiar with that particular area, ask them. It's important to get as much information and data as you can. Let's talk about going in an open house as a buyer. If you go in an open house as a buyer and you have a real estate agent, make sure you take the real estate agent's business cards out of respect so that the person showing you the house knows you have hired an agent to help you out.
Yeah, that is very important because if you just just walk in there, you want to make sure that you let those people know, because that person's going to be in there thinking, a lot of times it's common, they say, oh, I don't have an agent, or I already have an agent. But if you actually had somebody a card, then they know that you're going to have somebody that's going to be helping you out.
And many times they'll know your agent, who's representing you, and they'll say, let me give them a call and give more information about the property. Because a lot of the agents in town will know each other, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, I want to talk about something, and that is dual agency. Dual agency is when one agent represents both the buyer and the seller. Now, technically, dual agency happens when two people from the same office,
Right.
Because it's the same broker, represent both the buyer and the seller. You have to be careful when it's the actual same real estate agent negotiating both sides, because it's kind of hard to be impartial on both sides, because you want to get top dollar for your seller in good terms, and as a buyer's agent, you want to get the best price, the most competitive terms, right? So how do you do that when you're in between? If you happen to walk into an open house, it would be wise, if you're going to make an offer and you don't have a real estate agent, to ask that realtor, can you give me someone from your office? And a lot of times that realtor will get a little extra piece of the action. It happens sometimes. But at least you have somebody negotiating on your behalf that can ask you questions, because there might be another property that might be down the street. If you happen to meet that person in an open house and you're not buying that house, you can certainly use that person to buy a different house, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're going to fight for you in that case.
Correct. And you bring up a very good point, that you really want to have somebody on your side negotiating at the fiduciary responsibility to you, and that's something that's very, very important. I'm not a big fan of having one person handle both sides, because
it's kind of hard, isn't it? How do you do that?
Yeah, there's no way that's going to work.
And there are professionals that have been figured out how to navigate that. But a lot of times they'll say, "Look, here's an agent. They're going to from my office. They're going to represent you,
Right.
and it's done that way. There's that impartiality.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think so.
So close enough, right?
Right.
Ask for the seller transfer disclosure statement, which the seller is going to disclose what's wrong with the house.
Right. Yeah. You want to make sure that you know what you're getting into, and a lot of times there's things going on behind the walls that you really can't see. And so that's why a home inspection is something that's really very, very important. Have another set of eyes that knows where to look and knows what to look for, that can really help you out. And that's very, very important.
Yeah. So home inspection, I agree with 100% is important, but I want to highlight this seller transfer disclosure just real quick. The seller has to go through, and anything they know it's wrong with the house, and they'll know. They know all the creaks and movements of that house, right?
Yes.
Whether you turn on the hot water and it scolds you, or whether you turn on the hot water and it takes 20 minutes, they have to disclose all that. They have to disclose what they are concerned about with the house. Now, there is no seller transfer disclosure statement that's filled out in detail when there is no seller. For example, foreclosure. Right, because the person never lived in the house. However, the real estate agent still has to do a visual observation.
Correct.
As much as possible. And if it was let's say if it was a flip, where someone flipped it, fixed it up, you can ask for the seller transfer disclosure statement that was given to the sellers when they bought the house 90 days ago, before they fixed up the house. And you can see it. Did you fix all the things that were on here?
Right.
Certainly you can ask for that, and it's important that you know about that. A second set of eyes on the inspection, your Uncle Steve, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's a second set of eyes you want. That's sometimes better, the inspector. I always say uncle or aunt. You always have that skeptical uncle that knows everything, but he might be very valuable when it comes to buying a house, because he can point out things you might not know.
Yeah, that's my stepfather. He's the one that does that. He can walk through and he'll find anything wrong with anything. So he's very good. But you're right. It's very important to have somebody, because you're going to go in there and you're going to want to see only the best, because you're buying this house. You want somebody looking over your shoulder saying, that window is kind of crooked.
That's kind of cockeyed, huh?
Yeah.
What's funny about that is, you got that naysayer in your life. They might become very valuable when it comes to buying
for that transaction. All of a sudden, they're important.
Yeah, yes. They're important, and you want to hang out with them. Yeah, very important. What's the difference between an inspection and an appraisal?
Well, an appraisal is going to calculate the value of the home. All right, so that's going to be really important to the lender to understand how much that home is really valued at. An inspection is going to go in and tell you this needs to be corrected, these wires need to be fixed, that outlet's not working, things like that. So that's really what the difference is. A lot of times people think it's the same, but it's really not. The appraisal, you're going to need to get both.
And the appraiser is going to really really just highlight things that are obvious.
Right, right.
That are just, stained ceilings. There might have been a leak before, or things that a lot of roof tiles missing. I mean, if one's missing, they might not even see it, but if there's quite a few, but the inspection will really reveal so much more.
Correct.
And so there are two different ones. One, the appraisal can cost, anywhere from $400 to $700-800, and home inspection, probably the same, similar range.
Right.
But both very, well, one you have to get for the loan.
Correct.
If you're going to get a loan, and the other one is just really wise to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a lot of times people get a home warranty, and it's a different topic, but certainly that's one thing you get asked for just in case something goes wrong with the house.
Yeah, a lot of times sellers will provide that too.
Yeah, so they don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Just a few tips that you want to look at when it comes to buying a house. You can reach us at American Family Funding, either Dave Cantrell or Fred Arnold, myself, or any one of our professionals, American Family Funding. Just call us 661-284-1150, or go to AFFloans.com, and there's a list of mortgage professionals that will be able to help you. Also give a little bit of color on buying a house and the things they've learned over the last anywhere from decade to 2 decades of experience. So you've been listening to and watching online Hometown Station, American Family Funding, and the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. The host Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS.